Our family's been farming here for probably about 150 years, since dairy farming that is, since the mid-1800s, and we've been cheese-making dairy farmers up until the early 70s. I returned home 35 years ago with the intention of intensifying the farm, which we did, and the outcomes of which I was deeply uncomfortable with, but you become accustomed to these things over time because everyone else is doing it, so you become desensitized. And it was only when we opened the farm to the public and the reaction of my wife, Wilma, to our farming practices and others that made me realize that things had to change. On the farm here we have 340 hectares, out of which 200 are improved grasslands, but medium quality, very stony, rocky soils. 40 hectares are mixed broadleaf woodlands, most of which we planted in the last 20 years, and the rest is scrubby, rough grazings. We carry 130 dairy cows and all their offspring through to finishing or rebreeding, and 250 breeding ewes. It was going organic that gave us the discipline to stick with nature-based farming systems, which ultimately, although it didn't happen immediately, it took 10 years, but ultimately it gave us the productivity that we had prior to going organic. And it was that success, or seeing the success of nature-based farming, that gave us the confidence to go ahead and have a go at nature-based livestock. And that basically in the dairy sector meant leaving the calves with their mums for 5 to 6 months and milking them, which is almost unheard of in the dairy industry. We did a lot of research, we did a lot of trial work. It was very painful in places, but now that we're getting 5 years in, we can say this system works, and it's no way we're going to go back to our old ways.
As a remote rural farm, Rainton started to make cheese in the 1860s when railways came to the region, and continued to do so until 1970 when cheese was industrialised. And when we started to look at a circular model for our business, it was important for us that we would use all the milk that we produce on the farm. We had already established ourselves in the ice cream market, but that's a very energy intensive product, and it was clear that if we really were going to be sustainable, then we should move into a new market and make a different product. And for us, artisan cheese making fitted that bill completely. We didn't embark upon this as a marketing stunt or to address topical concerns. We did this because we were deeply concerned about the environment and the direction of travel of the farming industry. If we could develop a system that would address not just animal welfare, but also environmental issues, and that's what we feel we've done. We've been on the road to net zero for some time, in fact, since before the term net zero even existed. But our sole objective was never to be net zero, it was to change our farming system. We wanted to make the system more resilient and to work with nature rather than against it. We'd like to thank the Vibes judging panel for deeming us to be worthy of this award. It's most gratifying.
Well, we find it very encouraging that an independent panel of informed people see what we're doing here as being a guide to the rest of the industry as to a way forward to delivering a more sustainable food system. And we'd like to invite any watching members of the government, policy makers, the other farmers who are thinking about ecological farming to come along and see what we're doing here, because it is evidence that we can achieve all the outcomes for a sustainable farming system while being profitable at the same time.
Thank you. It can be done.